It began like any other quiet, forgettable Tuesday evening in Dalton, Illinois. It's just another routine board meeting that on most days wouldn't even register on the town's radar. But that night, everything changed. The moment Tiffany Henyard took the stage alone, with no trustees, no quorum, just a microphone and a camera, the illusion of normalcy shattered completely. What should have been a civic process became a full-blown one-woman show. This wasn't governance. This wasn't leadership. It was theater, chaotic, unfiltered, and completely unhinged. "This is not a Q&A," she snapped. "This is my statement." And with those words, she transformed a government meeting into a personal press conference, hijacked the moment, and crowned herself as ringmaster of a circus no one signed up for. She wasn't speaking to the room because the room was practically empty. She was speaking to the lens, to the internet, to the headlines. This was never about leading Dalton. It was about controlling the narrative. Loud, arrogant, defiant. Because while she stood there performing for the cameras, the real drama, the real threat was erupting quietly in the background. And it wasn't protesters. It wasn't journalists. It wasn't watchdogs. It was someone from inside her own circle. Someone who had finally had enough. A whistleblower reportedly from her inner team leaked footage that exploded online like gasoline on fire. It went viral within hours. People weren't just watching. They were dissecting it. Commentators labeled it the biggest political betrayal of the year. Some called it karma finally catching up. But no matter what you called it, the damage was nuclear. For years, Tiffany built her empire by surrounding herself with yes-men and loyalist people who would defend her to the bitter end. But now, that wall of blind loyalty is collapsing, crumbling fast. The cracks didn't start with this leak they've been forming for months. Henyard has been playing political chess, but every move looked more desperate than the last, appointing her own village administrator, an attorney with zero board approval, summoning her personal lawyer into canceled meetings just to publicly scold trustees for not showing up. These weren't power moves. They were panic, moves erratic, sloppy, and borderline illegal. And just when it seemed like her recklessness couldn't go any further, boom, the Illinois Attorney General stepped in. Kwame Raoul's office announced that Dalton violated the Open Meetings Act not once but twice under her command. In June and July, the village hall was shut down, doors locked, seats stripped out, and the public literally barred from attending. And the reason for this lockdown? According to Henyard, someone allegedly left a childish handwritten note in blue marker calling her and her mother losers. That note didn't even appear until after the meetings in question. The Attorney General wasn't buying it, called the excuse ridiculous and obvious overreaction and a blatant abuse of power. But if you followed Tiffany Henyard's trail, that's her pattern. Overreach, overspend, overreact to anyone who challenges her authority. And when we talk about overspending, brace yourself. After months of legal dodging, investigators finally got access to her township credit card records. What they found? Outrageous. In just 5 months, Henyard charged more than $67,000 in travel expenses to the township. And when you factor in what she billed to the village of Dalton, the total soars beyond $100,000. 100 grand? On what? Lavish hotel stays, first-class flights, upscale restaurants, conference attendance. I got a law, as if attending. A couple of vaguely defined events justifies blowing through taxpayer money like it's monopoly cash. Because apparently in her version of public service, luxury is part of the job description. But this isn't just about Henyard. It's about who she kept closest. Enter Keith Freeman, her former right-hand man. He was in every room, on every email thread, part of every shady decision. He knew it all. So when rumors started swirling that Freeman might be cooperating with federal investigators, Henyard went into panic mode. She tried to oust him immediately. But here's the catch. The board never signed off on it. Freeman was still the village administrator. Still in power, still dangerous. Whispers began circulating. Freeman had flipped. He had receipts, real ones. And when Henyard caught wind of it, she tried to cut ties, but like everything else she touches, it blew up in her face. Freeman fought back. And hard now, the lawsuits are raining down. One former employee claims she was fired for refusing to be a yes woman. Another says Henyard sabotaged his business out of personal spite. Then there's Dwayne Thrash, the former head of maintenance, who's suing over constitutional violations after he allegedly refused to help. Henyard replaced a school board attorney with someone more loyal. Notice the pattern? The second you challenge her, you're gone, fired, canceled, pushed out, silenced. Which is exactly why Dalton's city government has turned into a revolving door of investigations, subpoenas, and legal chaos. And even her allies, they're done protecting her. Meet Carmen Kerala, former team player now turned full-blown whistleblower. She's going public, and she's not holding back. Kerala flat out said, I believe Henyard's been unethical and predatory from day 1. She's accusing her of manipulating everyone from vendors to employees to regular residents, all to create a fake image of success. A fraud, a scam built on taxpayer dollars. Now that illusion is falling apart. Fast, because the Tiffany Henyard we're seeing today. She's not a leader, she's not a mayor. She's a cautionary tale unraveling in real time. Her grip on power is slipping. The lawsuits are multiplying, the receipts are mounting, and every day more insiders are stepping forward. This isn't over, not even close. In fact, it's only just getting started. If there's one name that just won't disappear in the wreckage of Tiffany Henyard's spiraling administration, it's Keith Freeman. Not just an assistant, not just a colleague. Freeman was her enforcer, her fixer, her shadow in every questionable decision. He wasn't sitting on the sidelines. He was in the room, present for every hushed conversation, every transaction, every maneuver designed to dodge accountability. So when whispers started circulating that Freeman was quietly cooperating with the FBI, panic hit the Henyard camp like a tidal wave. And in true Tiffany fashion, she reacted fast but not smart. She tried to cut him loose immediately, attempting to remove him from power without ever bringing the issue before the board. But that misstep proved costly, because without board approval, her termination attempt held no legal weight. Freeman remained the village administrator on paper, and more importantly, he still had access. 2 files, 2 systems, 2 secrets. And according to insiders, he's not just sitting on gossip, he's sitting on hard evidence, documentation, paper trails. The kind of receipts that can't be brushed aside with a press release or drowned out. At a chaotic town hall, that's why Henyard wanted him gone desperately. But once again, her attempt to contain the damage backfired. Because Keith Freeman, he's not just staying quiet, he's fighting back. And it's not from a place of innocence. He's under federal investigation himself, facing serious charges. That include bankruptcy, fraud, and retaliatory firings. Yet when things got hot, Henyard didn't stand by him. She turned on him instantly, threw him under the bus like yesterday's trash. And in doing so, she triggered something worse, because Freeman, once loyal, flipped too. And now, the full consequences of that betrayal are surfacing. Fast. 3 former employees have filed lawsuits against Henyard's administration in just the past few months, and their stories all echo a chilling pattern. One employee says she was fired simply because she wouldn't say yes to everything. Another claims Henyard used her power to block his business license out of personal revenge. And then there's Dwayne Thrash, a former maintenance manager who says he was pressured to help remove a school board attorney who wasn't cooperative enough. When he refused, he was allegedly pushed out. His lawsuit cites constitutional violations, wrongful termination, and abuse of authority. All these stories paint the same picture. In Henyard's version of Dalton, obedience is everything, and refusal to play along gets you erased. The legal carousel is spinning faster by the day, and the scandals keep multiplying. But just when it felt like the chaos had peaked, an unexpected twist emerged. Enter Carmen Corral, once considered a staunch ally on the Thornton Township Board. She came forward publicly, no anonymity, no filters, and dropped bombshell allegations. She accused Henyard of being not just unethical, predatory, of manipulating township employees, vendors, and even regular residents to craft a fake narrative of power and success. She didn't mince words. She didn't hedge. Receipts. Publicly. On record. And the wildest part, Rel might be telling the unfiltered truth. Because while Henyard dismisses every accusation as jealousy or hate, her own words are starting to betray her. In a recent rant, she screamed, "This is all happening because your super mayor became too powerful, too fast." She wasn't joking. She said it with conviction. It would almost be funny if it weren't so unnerving, because it reveals just how far her delusion has spiraled. She genuinely believes her downfall is a conspiracy built on envy, not the result of her own unchecked actions. And instead of addressing Corral's claims, Henyard mocked them. She ridiculed her, labeled her lying Corral, turning the whole thing into a playground insult. But in doing that, she accidentally confirmed more than she denied, because if Corral was lying, why even admit they were in the same room when those shady deals were being discussed? According to Corral, Henyard pressured her to lie about a questionable foundation scheme, tried to pass the blame to someone else. But Carmen stood her ground. She refused. And that refusal? That was the crack that split the dam. So that was the moment the unraveling began. Now even regular residents are refusing to stay silent. At a recent board meeting, one brave voice stood up and cut through Henyard's self-congratulatory tirade. Words echoed like a gunshot. The residents already know you're stealing from them. And what did Henyard do? She didn't flinch. She didn't deflect. She doubled down, claimed she was sent by God, declared herself rare, chosen, even divine. It wasn't leadership. It wasn't leadership, it was performance art. Like watching someone throw a standing ovation for themselves in an empty theater. No applause, just denial. This isn't just a scandal, it's a slow-motion implosion. And at the center is a leader so consumed with image, she can't see the truth closing in around her. Federal investigators are circling, the lawsuits are piling up, her allies are fleeing, her secrets are leaking. But Henyard? She's still gripping the mic, still putting on the same show, convinced the performance will save her. That if she speaks loud enough, maybe the wreckage won't matter. But it does matter. Because the illusion is dead. The curtain's been pulled back, the Super Mayor Act is out of gas, and no amount of spin, denial, or mockery can hide the fact that this empire built on ego, control, and intimidation is crumbling, one betrayal at a time. The only question left is this the final act, or is the most shocking twist still waiting in the wings?